Hi artists! Today we're going to begin making an autumn landscape with trees that have warm colored leaves. I'm going to start my picture by creating a line closer to the bottom. This is where my trees are going to grow from. So this is the ground. In order to do that, I'm going to get some green paper. We've got a couple different types of greens. And the first thing I need to do in order to make my collage is start tearing my green paper up. I want to tear them into pieces about the size of my finger. If it's too small, it's going to take forever to create our collages. And if they're really big, then it's not going to look that nice. So I'll tear up my paper, and then I'm going to start gluing those pieces down. The easiest way to glue your pieces is to grab a bottle. And this bottle of glue has a brush inside. So I'll get some glue on my brush, and I'm going to drag that brush across the paper and make a couple of stripes or streaks. I don't need to fill the entire section. If I do some stripes or streaks, that's going to be plenty of glue. And then all I have to do is start placing my green paper into that section. I'm going to layer my papers, right? And I really want to fill this area up. I filled up most of my ground. I don't mind that there's a couple spaces showing through with pink. That's okay. Next, I'm going to choose my colors for my autumn leaves. I need red, orange, and yellow. So what I need to do here is tear these papers up as well. These shapes are organic, which means they're not perfectly straight-edged shapes. They look like they might come from nature, and that makes sense because trees come from nature. I tore these pieces of paper a little bit smaller than the ground papers. Now, I could either use my glue bottle, or if I'm using a glue stick, I'll do something similar. I'll take my glue stick, roll up a little bit. I'll do a couple of streaks or stripes with my glue stick. I'm not going to try to do the whole paper at once. Notice how I go over my lines a couple times. I'll put the cap back on. And now I'm just going to start to randomly place my warm colored leaves onto the pink background paper. They can overlap in areas where one color covers up part of another. I do want to see some of that pink paper showing through as well. Of course, I have to fill the other half of my paper as well. So I'll add some more glue. And then start adding leaves to this section. If there's a space that your leaf will not stick to, you can just add a little bit more glue in that section. But let's fill it up. Boy, those leaves fell fast. Now I need to add some tree trunks. To make those tree trunks, you'll get a brown piece of paper, and I need to cut it a little bit. So I know the bottom of my tree trunk is going to be nice and thick, whereas as it gets closer to the top of the tree, it gets skinnier and skinnier. So it comes to a point, I might make one more tree trunk going in the opposite direction. So maybe my picture will have two trees. I can use my glue stick or my glue bottle to glue them down. So notice how I use my glue bottle, or glue stick rather, and go over a section a couple times, making my hand go back and forth. That really helps to get enough glue so that the tree will stay down and not fall off. Now I have two tree trunks, but we also need some tree branches. So I'll take my brown piece of paper and I'm gonna cut, maybe cut this in half. Ooh, that would be perfect. That could be a tree branch, and maybe this is a tree branch. What's cool about trees is that their branches come off from the trunk and it almost looks like a letter Y, like that. So I'll glue these down. A great finishing touch would be to add a couple more small leaves. I tore up a couple small pieces of paper. I'm gonna put a couple dots, maybe a dot on the tree trunk, the tree branch, and make some overlapping leaves. Maybe there's a couple more overlapping leaves on the leaves there. Maybe there's even 1 or 2 or 3 little leaves that fell on the ground. So I can do some overlapping. What a beautiful fall day. I love my picture. I'm ready to carry it to my drying rack, find my number on the drying rack, and place my work above it. My fingers sure are sticky, so I can go pick up a sponge after I've dropped off my artwork, take it to my seat, wash my fingers, clean my space, and then I'll be ready to go. All right, team, now it's your turn. I can't wait to see what you create. Have fun.